Bear down, Bears fans. Thomas Brown is taking over as the interim head coach. Matt Eberflus out. But the interesting thing is, we just got a report from the NFL that Jaylon Johnson went crazy on Matt Eberflus to the point that Matt Eberflus had to be removed from the locker room after the loss to the Detroit Lions in a game that, dare I say it, the Bears had an opportunity to win yet again and coached their way out of victory. And listen, say what you want about Matt Eberflus, and it's probably not going to be very good at this point, but it is almost impossible and improbable and inconceivable that you would make so many mistakes, one after the other, after the other, after the other, and cause this team to lose games that it so clearly had opportunities to win. If you like this type of content, make sure you hit the like button on your way in and let me know right here. Do you think that Jaylon Johnson should have gone off on Matt Eberflus and that was the end? We're going to look at the article right now. Okay, guys, so this is what popped up. Jaylon Johnson went crazy on Matt Eberflus after the loss to the Lions, that the frustrations have boiled over, he's freaking out, and here's what happened. Defensive leader Jaylon Johnson went crazy, according to a report by Adam Johns and Diana Rossini of The Athletic. He was very emotional and pissed, but rightfully so, a Bears player explained. Most of his vitriol was directed at head coach Matt Eberflus. The Athletic story described an ugly scene in Chicago's locker room. We felt as players been too many instances where we fought our way back into games to lose because of bad time management and decision making. And guys, I want to point out, how many games has it felt like Caleb Williams has taken the reins in the fourth quarter? And look, Caleb Williams has problems. He's not a perfect guy, but in the fourth quarter, the one thing that you can say about Caleb Williams is he was marching down the field. What the Bears were doing last year is they were winning games and then they were losing them in the fourth quarter. We're coming back in the fourth quarter now. There is a different dynamic to Caleb Williams. He is a comeback guy. He is a guy who nails it in the fourth quarter. That's what we've been seeing right now. But every time, mind-numbing errors and a near-complete lack of accountability have been hallmarks of Chicago's coaching staff. Week 13's defeat seemed to reach a new low. The on-field product and the off-field morale has become so toxic, the organization made the decision to fire Eberflus after the game. He now holds the ignominious decision as being the first Bears coach fired in mid-season. Now let's recap here. Look, the Bears marching down the field. There's 30 seconds remaining. Quarterback Caleb Williams gets sacked for a 6-yard loss, setting up a third down from Detroit's 41-yard line, which means we still have time for one more play. Despite having a timeout, Eberflus refused to use it, letting valuable seconds drain from the clock. By the time the Bears got set up to run the next play, just 6 seconds remain. That means, and Caleb Williams doing this shit with his head and trying to get everybody ready for whatever the next play was going to be. And then, of course, time just runs out. So what does Caleb do? Caleb made a smart decision in that regard, because what he did was he went for the end zone. He tried to catch Rome Odunze in stride. Of course, it was double coverage and didn't go anywhere. But the point to it was he was going for it at the end of the game because he knew that time had run out on him. Now, at that point, Eberflus sort of acknowledged that he should have called timeout after Williams was sacked instead of just letting the Lions win it. It was far too little, far too late. The former Bears coach has racked up a number of awful decisions this season. Now, let's go over it. He had errors and losses to the Green Bay Packers, where he should have run, because Cairo Santos, by the way, 70 of 70 on kicks inside the 40. Where were we? About the 40. It would be a 46-yard kick. So if we had just gotten about 6 yards on a final play, then that would have been an almost guarantee. Now, by the way, we can talk about the block, and yes, we don't want to be blocked, and it was not good to have the kick blocked. And, maybe there is a question of trajectory, but that trajectory inside the 40 does change, and it probably would have changed the dynamic, and Cairo has never missed at that point. So what coach does not know that that's the case? By the way, did I mention that it was on the left hash instead of the right hash? Everything you could do for Cairo Santos to set him up, Matt Eberflus just refused to do. And then said, no, I'd stick with that decision. That was a good decision. That's wild. And then you had the Arizona Cardinals. And by the way, let's not even forget the Washington Commanders, where you've got Tyreek Stevenson checked out of a play, jawing with fans. Now, he says he was jawing with Detroit Chicago fans, trying to get them hyped up for the final play, but it doesn't matter. He's not focused. And he ends up running over as the play starts and tapping the ball into the hands of the wide receiver. So, and all of these, just one after the other, Then we find out also, by the way, Ryan Pohl's been trying to fire him for a month since the Patriots game. So this is crazy, right? Jaylon Johnson has been outspoken all season about the Bears coaching staff and a general lack of accountability. Now, here's the other thing, and I want to say this. One of the things that we heard last season was, and what I told you guys, and look, I believed in Matt Eberflus. What I told you guys was Jaylon Johnson is coming out and he's saying, we should be practicing situational occurrences, and we are not practicing situational occurrences. If we're going to do a sweep, and they do a jet sweep, we never practiced what would happen in case there was a jet sweep. Like, we never even bothered to try to get, to figure out little tweaks that we see in the opposing offenses. We would just talk about it. We would never practice it so that you could get all the nervousness and the jitters out. Like, that's just crazy, right? That's just crazy. We can admit that's crazy. So anyway, that's what you have right there. Jaylon Johnson goes off on Matt Eberflus. Turns out he's the last person to be able to go off on Matt Eberflus. Matt Eberflus immediately fired after that. Look, the Chicago Bears did the right thing in getting rid of Matt Eberflus. And you can like Matt Eberflus, and we can all say that he's been a stand-up guy. We thought the same thing of Justin Fields, but it's about winning football games. And we did not win football games with Matt Eberflus. We found ways to snatch defeat from the hands of victory too many times. So let's welcome Thomas Brown in. Let's hope that maybe Thomas Brown gets this team righted through this. Eric Washington, I assume, is going to handle play calling duties on the defense. I think we pretty much got this worked out right now to see how this plays out through the end of the season. There are prospects that we're looking at for the head coaching job. One of them is going to be Thomas Brown. It better be Thomas Brown at this point, because this team seems to really like him. So we shall see what we shall see over the next little while. But guys, remember, the Chicago Bears are ready for that next level. This team is hungry for victories and wins. So let's see a nice little 4-1 wrap up to the season. It won't give us a winning record, but it would give us that 8.5 that we got at the beginning of the season. And, maybe it'll change something. Maybe it'll change something dramatic. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. And until then, bear down. And remember, 49ers coming up next.